afternoon. Welcome to Semper Fi. I'm your host, Staff Sergeant B. Today's guest is Dick Hooper. Be with him in just a second. Going to quickly go over a couple things that happened on August 26th, some time ago. Back in 1901 in the Army, Maxwell Taylor was a U.S. general and diplomat. He was born as the commanding general of the 8th Army in 1953. He directed UN forces during the latter stages of the Korean War. And then just general information, in 1945, Japanese diplomats boarded the USS Missouri to receive instructions on Japanese surrenders at the end of World War II. And in 1957, the Soviet Union announced that it has successfully tested an intergalactical ballistic missile capable of being fired into any part of the world. And in 1981, Voyager 2 took pictures of Saturn's moon Titan. That's pretty much what happened on August 26th. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, Dick Hooper, who was in the Air Force. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Of course, I'm like true Americans. I spent 4 years in the service, and you can't thank the servicemen enough. Not saying that because I was in service, but people who are in service and have been in service and sacrifice. You just, when you see one somewhere, you should come up to him and say something, and tell them how you appreciate their, because it's a tough life. It's a pretty tough life. You're away from your loved ones, and of course there's some parties go on too.
We do a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, do a lot of sacrifice. Again, thanks for being here. And for myself, I was in the Air Force 4 years. Just one day at work, a friend of mine, a guy I worked with, of course we were just kids then, 18 years old I guess, been out of high school not long, and we were working and making, our job was to make King Leo stick candy. If you've ever eaten peppermint stick candy or cloves tea, you know what I'm talking about. Also in a candy bar that's big in the South, Goo Goo candy bars.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Goo Goos. Well, if you watch the Grand Ole Opry, you will hear Goo Goo candy bars. Very good. But anyway, we were just eating lunch, and Larry, friends, so one of us, I might have been myself, I don't know which one of us, said, I don't like this job, And I said, I don't need it. I don't want to make candy all my life. And the other one said, well, what do you do? I said, I don't know. Let's join the Air Force. So anyway, we quit, joined the Air Force the next day.
That fast?
That fast,
And, without going over borderlines, what year was this?
This was 1960.
All right.
Or this winter of 1960. And we joined, the next day, or it might have been Friday, I don't know what day it was, but anyway, just as soon as we get to the recruiting office, we joined. And I never regretted it. I really liked to serve. I enjoyed the service, enjoyed my 4 years in service. It was good. It was basically peacetime, but you're still there to defend the United States. Not trying to sound noble or anything, but that's your job in the service.
That's what we do.
That's what you do.
Where'd you go to boot camp?
Went to boot camp in San Antonio, Texas, Lackland Air Force Base.
Is that still around?
I guess it's still training camp for Air Force as far as I know. I've never heard any different. And spent, let's see, I believe I was there 8 weeks. I believe eight or 9 weeks was training and boot camp. And again, it was real life, It, like taking an old country boy out of Tennessee, me, and put him down there, and and just. It was good. It's good training. I think anyone can go into service and go through boot camp. I think to come out a better person. They come out a much better person.
Always.
So
now, compared to nowadays, how was boot camp back in the '60s? How was they treated you in boot camp?
Did a lot of hollering at you.
Yeah.
They raised your voice.
Did they still have that myth about when you got in trouble you had to peel potatoes, or back in the '60s?
Yeah, you caught KP.
You did.
And normally. I guess, I don't know, I was, you was on the roster, and I guess as it rolled around, you caught your time, but I guess if you screwed up, you
nowadays,
went to the top of the list. You know?
Because nowadays we have what's called mess and maintenance. 2 weeks
Yeah.
you either go on mess duty or you're policing the cutting the grass, painting the rocks white.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, I was saying, if it don't move, paint it or something. What is that? Is that what that is? You know? So,
yeah, pick it up and don't grow.
yeah, pick
So.
it up. If it don't move, paint it. So anyway, like I said, if you go through any Air Force, Marines, I know you're Marines or Navy, if you go through boot camp, you come out a better person. You come out, but I did. I felt
I think
like
we
I
all
did.
do.
Yeah. You learn a lot of discipline, responsibility, and you're responsible for your actions.
Now, upon graduation, what was your, military, in the Marines we call it the MOS, your military occupational status. What was your job?
I went to, once I got out of service, and I went to Biloxi, Mississippi, and some, I don't know if Biloxi, Mississippi at that time was some good party town. But anyway, went to tech school. We got tech school. I was a radar, excuse me, radar operator, learning to be a radar operator, which they called us scope dopes, you know.
Okay.
Called us scope dopes. That's what we were. But you know, it was early defense warning. It was mostly on the stations were on the the coast or coast to the coast, and also we had some airplanes that flew out of Sacramento, California, which had early warning radar on them, and they would go out a couple of 100 miles off coast. Of course, this was during the Cold War.
Right.
The Cold War was winding down some, but it was during the Cold War, and the radar planes, they'd go out about 200 miles off coast and just circle for 8 hours and come back. Your crew would get on the plane. And
Now, was that their daily exercise, or to make sure that you can catch them on your sites as well?
yeah, that was like I was at a stationary radar site, and this was what they call a mobile radar site. They just circled, and of course, the object was to catch any enemy airplanes before it got to the coast. You know, early warning. That's what they call early warning defense. And like I said, after I got through tech school, and I was, like I said, I was from Tennessee, and my first tour of duty was Tonopah, Nevada. You know.
Really went far, didn't you?
Yeah, went to first tour of duty, Tonopah, Nevada, in the desert, and it was a great experience. Once I got here, got acclimated. I love the desert and always wanted to come back, and I finally did. So.
Is the base in Tonopah still there as well? Or?
The base is not there. If you're familiar with Tonopah, we only had about 120 people there.
Wow.
The base is where McDonald's over as you're going into town to the left of McDonald's up there beside the mountain. I think now it's mainly either county or Tonopah city buildings. When the Air Force moved out, they gave the facility to the county, I guess. So I guess it's a lot of county buildings there and the county municipal, and it's been put to use. Yeah, the